Hello, everyone. I'm Ed Densel, and I host Unfound, and I run this YouTube channel. I realize you don't want to give a thumbs up to the following video until you watch it. You know what? That's totally understandable. I can appreciate that. But what you can do right now is subscribe to this channel. The button is right there. Thanks. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Unfound podcast channel on YouTube. I am Unfound's host, Ed Densel. I hope everybody is doing well. As the title suggests, this is a map analysis for the disappearance of Mark Himebaugh. This episode came out on March 11th, 2022. Before I get started, I hope you will consider becoming a member of this channel by hitting the join button that is right below this video. It's right there beside the subscribe button. This is a very important video because there's a lot of different locations, and I'm not sure that these locations can be rationalized if we are to believe all of them. And of course, it's always up to you for any episode that is done, any analysis that I do on YouTube, to determine what you believe, what you don't believe, what you think is true, what you don't think is true. And because sometimes it's just not clear. Of course, Rich McHale was the guest, and he has written a great book about Mark's disappearance. He has a map in that book that has some arrows showing which directions and everything. But of course, you cannot do a video in a book. So I'm hoping you will use this video as a companion piece to that book, and of course to the episode that came out on March 11th. All right, so I just want to show you in New Jersey, in general terms, where this is. So let's zoom out a little bit. This is very southern New Jersey. This is Philadelphia right up here. You can see there's the title right there at the top of the screen. You can see Atlantic City right there. It's areas that I know very well. I've been there many times back in the 1990s. And so then we zoom in, and you heard during the interview about Cape May, which is where Mark's father lived and worked. That's right down here at the bottom of the screen. But that red dot, it's not quite a dot, is where Delhaven is, and that is where Mark was last seen. So we're going to go zoom in here. We're going to go down to this particular area right here. You can see Sunray Beach. You can see Cape May County Park South. Mark lived on one of these streets right here. There's Sunray Street and a couple other streets, but Sunray is this one right in the middle. And what was happening that day to go through this, and I realize anytime you do an audio show and trying to explain directions, routes, maps, anything like that, it can be a little difficult. So I'm hoping that many people will take advantage of this video. So what was going on is there was a fire. The fire was right in this location down here. And because of the prevailing winds being west to east, blowing this direction, the fire was here, but it was blowing smoke across this Bayfront Boulevard, which is this road right here. It's not the main road in this part of New Jersey. In fact, there's a highway way over here that if you wanted to drive down to Cape May, that is where you would be going. Whereas this is kind of a secondary road, and it seems to me if you want to get to this area right here, you may take this road. This seems like the long way around. But if you want to get to this area right in here, you're going to have to take this road right here. So I really don't know how well it was traveled at the time or even now, but it's not a major highway, and we know it doesn't seem like it's a populated area, but not that populated. In any case, this is where the fire was happening, and the winds were blowing it to the east. So the smoke was going right across this road. And so it was dangerous, it was impassable, and as you heard Rich say, the fire police blocked it off. So what was going on that day is if people came down this direction and made a right and went west, they would get into this area and it would be blocked, and they would have to turn around and maybe go, as I just showed. If they wanted to get to this area here, they would have to go back and go the whole way around that way. Okay, so let me just pull that out maybe just a little bit. So there we go. Okay. So the winds were blowing this way, and so they would have to come in here and turn around. And so as Rich explained on that day, what was happening, to zoom in this in even more, and I apologize if this goes kind of blurry once in a while, but what was happening is people were coming down this street. It was blocked off right here, and so they would have to turn around, go down these streets, and turn around and go back the opposite way. How busy it was, I don't know. I'm anticipating that it was a little busy, as you heard Rich talk about it, but I don't know if it was necessarily backed up traffic, but enough that these streets in here were getting a lot more traffic than they were ever built for. So we might think that, people coming down here, they have to turn around, they go around, and maybe they're stuck trying to get back going this way. We also have to factor in there might be the fire department, police going in and out that might jam things up as well. But that was what was going on. People wanted to go the whole way down here, but they had to stop here and go back that way. So what happens? Mark's on this street. He knows about this fire. He's seen the smoke. His mother allows him to go check it out. So this is where he was. This is approximately where the fire was. So as we heard Rich talk about, as has been documented by these witnesses, if we choose to believe them, what happened was Mark went down here, and of course there's the beach. He went down this direction and seemingly came back. People saw him walking along this street, and in fact some people saw him walking east back toward his house. Don't know don't exactly remember how long a time it was, but he was down up here, went down here because the fire is right there. Probably easier to get to see it if you went down the beach in contrast to walking down the road because it's blocked off. I do not really believe this area right here in the middle is walkable. So I think he just took the easiest route, and there are some houses right here. So we would go by some houses that are right on the beach. We'd be down here. The fire is right there. He's checking it out. And then seemingly, according to witnesses, he came back. And somewhere in there, if we are to believe that this one witness is telling the truth, there was a guy and a woman in a car somewhere in this area, and the guy looked like Tom Buttcabbage. I'm not saying it was Tom. We don't know. But a sketch that was done later by someone who saw this guy, Tom Buttcabbage's picture and this guy's picture, they could be similar. So that's something that you're going to have to judge. But right in here is where that happened. This sighting where, and of course, Mark stopped and talked to that guy who looked like Tom Buttcabbage for a short moment and then continued in this direction. We also know, if we are to believe a witness, that you'll remember that this witness who worked for the county or the township said that he saw Mark and a girl shorter than Mark, so presumably younger than Mark. They were walking. At some point, they were seen walking into this park over here. And actually, this whole area is designated a park. This Cape May County Park South. So right here. So they were seen walking east, or maybe even a little southeast, into this park. And seemingly, that is the last time that Mark was seen. That can be documented that, might have any truth to it. And then, of course, after that, he disappears. We know that his mother comes home, is jammed up trying to get home. It takes her a lot longer, but she eventually gets home. He's not there, and this disappearance starts. Now, what is confusing about this, and I'll get to the shoe in a moment, is it's hard to understand if Mark was really interested in the fire. He was down here certainly going to the fire. Then what was he doing with this girl going that direction? And we need to keep in mind something, as I've already stated, there are cars here, but we only have one person who seemingly saw Mark with this little girl. All the other accounts of Mark being seen, he is by himself. But this one particular guy said, yeah, he was with a girl who was shorter than he was, and they were walking into the park. This guy, once again, is some sort of state or local employee, township employee was doing something with the garbage. So there you go. But nobody else has ever reported seeing Mark with a little girl. What was he doing over here if the fire was over here? And as I think Rich said, if he was going over here, it was probably something that his mother probably thought he shouldn't have been doing. Have to think about that. Now, regarding the shoe and where these footprints and everything occurred, they occurred right in this area right here. The shoe was found that was found. The shoe that was found that was identified by his mother and his brother was found right in this area. It was found that night. And if to remind you of that, they were out looking for him with dogs, all sorts of people. They, of course, went down toward the fire, and then they didn't find anything. And somebody thought, well, let's just go this opposite direction, see if we find anything. And what do you know? There is Mark's shoe right in there somewhere. Brought it home, and they identified it as being Mark's. So this is a little confusing, as you can see. He lives here. The fire's here. There's a witness who said he was with a little girl over here, but there's a shoe that was found way over here. And then there was one footprint that continued to go this direction, made it to this road out here. And then there was no more evidence what direction Mark could have gone, if this was Mark at all. The police at the time believed, and I don't know whether I'm supposed to believe. I always hear about, well, the dogs followed a scent to the road, and everybody just thought, well, this person must have gotten in a car with somebody. However, many times when that kind of disappearance or something is solved, that's not what happened. I think all of you have to remember that. But the scent by the dogs went to the road, and they lost the scent, if the scent even existed. All we know is the footprint, one footprint, went this direction, went up to like the edge of the road here, and then disappeared. The footprint was no longer. It's hard to understand. So the other shoe sighting, if we were to believe it, which is from the night before, and I don't even, I have to write a blog about this. I don't even know what I'm going to say about that. The other shoe, though, was found more down this direction. You heard that Rich say it was south of that. And these people claimed it was down here somewhere, like a half mile south, maybe even more down this way. So were there two shoes? Were there one shoe? Did somebody pick the shoe up the night before and place it here? We just don't know. But was it the same shoe? Was it the left shoe? Was it the right shoe? Who would even notice that? But if it was the same shoe, how could it be down here the night before if he put it on the next day? Did he have a habit of leaving his shoe? Was he out there? Was Mark out there night before and left his shoe down there and got it? Came home and then the next day once again lost his shoe during the course of this? I guess physically it's possible. It seems really crazy. But maybe. I don't believe that, but maybe. So either way, this is where the fire was. This is where he was headed, last seen by this township employee. And this is where his shoe was found. Remember, this shoe was not found days later. It was just found hours later. It was found maybe 4 hours after after sundown. Not long. It wasn't found a week later. So it was found fairly quickly. So there's that. The other thing we have to figure into this is that, I want you to think about this. If this was some sort of plan, how could have anybody predicted where Mark would go that day? I think this is something that you all need to consider. Even if somebody started this fire on purpose with the plan to catch Mark, how could they have known that he would go anywhere? How did they know that his mother would let him out of the house? How did they know that Mark wouldn't be doing something else? How did they know that Mark wouldn't be with other people? Maybe Maureen and him would go together. Could never have predicted that. Now, granted, yes, he went by himself, but I don't know how anybody could have known that beforehand. In addition, if it was Tom Buttcabbage, and this wasn't some sort of plan, because that is possible. It's possible that Tom did do this, but it wasn't a plan. He just happened to be down in this area. He's a bad guy. We know he's a bad guy, and he's going down somewhere down here into this area, and he gets blocked off, and this kid just walks by. He has no idea who the kid is, and he suddenly gets interested in him. And then somehow he abducts him without anybody seeing, and that's on top of everything else. We have all these cars backed and everything, and nobody saw anything. But even so, it would be possible, I suppose, for Tom and whoever he was with to go this direction. And then, yes, Mark went over here with some little girl and they parted ways and Tom just happens to be here and abducts him. Certainly possible. The issue is, why didn't anybody see that? All these cars, firemen, it's hard to understand. Not impossible, but I think it's something for you to think about. And, you know, is there any proof that Tom Buttcabbage, if he just happened coincidentally to be down this way, did he know anybody down here? This area down here is called Miami Beach, of all places, of all names, I should say. Maybe somebody, you know, has anybody ever tried to check that out? Where, if he was going down that direction, Tom Buttcabbage, with a woman, that was them in that car, where were they going before they got, you know, turned around and going back the other way? So once again, Mark lived here. He was seen down here checking out the fire. He was seen over here with a little girl going this direction, but his shoe was found up here. One of them, if it was even his. And then the other one, if we're to believe it, by the other sighting of the shoe the night before, was down here somewhere. So that is my map analysis. It's a tough one. It's all, you know, here's what I know. All of this is not true. There is something within all of this that isn't true. I'm not sure which one it is, but all of these sightings and the shoe and everything cannot be true. It's just tough to determine which one, you know, which one is not like the others, like that old, what was it, Sesame Street song, little skit, something like that. But that'll be up for all of you to decide. Thank you for watching this map analysis for the disappearance of Mark Himebaugh. And once again, please consider joining the Unfound membership program. See ya.